Welcome to a special edition of PetInfoCafe. We're here to talk about Lundehunds today. I'm your host, Jennifer Eileen, and I'm very excited to introduce Michael and Karen, who know a lot about Lundehunds.
Hi, I'm Karen, and my husband Michael. We've had Lundehunds since 2004. We found out about the breed through an article in a magazine, and we did our research to determine that yes, it was a good fit for us. So I contacted the Lundehund Club at the time and hooked up with a breeder, thinking it'd probably be a couple of years before we matched up with anybody, and we lucked out and had our first Lundehund within a few months.
Don't know where. Yeah. I'm digging out.
Good boy. Balder. Look at all those toes. Look at all the toes. Put your ears up. Ears up. Hey. Okay, we're gonna do chase me, chase me. We're gonna do chase me, chase me. You ready, Hedwig? Chase me, chase me.
Cheese is fine.
What other toppings? You're carb-loading. Get her in position. Stand pretty. Come on. Stand pretty. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good girl.
Let me come around here and get a little.
Come here. Come on. I know. Dagney, you'll get your turn next. Anya. Let me just walk her back and forth so she's in her mood. Come on. Stop. Stop.
Anya. Hi, Anya. Hello. Hi.
You're all right. You gotta put away. Tray back. Watch me. Up. Stand pretty. There you go. You got both sisters. Stand pretty.
So take a look here at the 6 paw. You take out the 6
Depending on the branch of
Fully
what
functional
side of the
toes.
family you're
6
on,
fully
they've
functional
been here
toes.
On all 4
forever.
feet.
And this is Dagney. She's a bit of a cuddle baby.
Related to.
No, John Smith didn't
So,
marry Pocahontas.
see, she's a
No, he
cuddle
didn't.
baby.
Pocahontas did marry a
But
white
when they're talking about the 6 toes that have this ability to grab shale and do all of these other things, this is
But like I said, aside, you know,
And they're not dew
one
claws, they're
section of the
they're
family
actual
came
toes,
over,
which I have to explain to
during the-
people.
yeah. What's
during
that? What's the
1600s,
difference?
they
So
ended
dew
up
claw is
in-
just kind of like a little after evolution that they didn't need it any as much. But their toes have
during the process of
joints, ligaments, tendons,
there's actual paperwork.
Yeah.
so they can manipulate them like
Applying
thumbs.
citizenship and
In fact, if we can grab Anya, she's got really big front toes. They look like mittens, big like mitten toes.
I mean, my father's side of the family, again, on that side, I'm second generation.
You got
On my
beautiful
mother's
toes
side,
on you.
Yes.
you know,
So she's learned to turn on the electric blanket. You'll see her like punch it like a little thumb.
Smart.
And then we were at agility practice and she stuck her foot out of her crate and untied my girlfriend's shoelaces. Right? You're so funny. You're so funny. And when they descend, you'll watch them, they spread out their toes really, really wide so they're serving as brakes. And with their flexibility of their shoulders, they can extend their legs out to the side and you just see them. It's like trying to stretch your fingers for a full octave on a piano. That's what they look like. Yeah. And they tend to, like, I've watched them scramble rocks. It's like they like the challenge of going down them more than going up them.
Oh.
her, get her, get her, get her, get her. Run, 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 run. Just not the face. Not the face. Got a beauty pageant to go to. There you go. Oh yeah.
Oh, they love to play together, don't they?
But you'll realize that if you watch those very nice.
They love to.
Whatever that
was, somebody ate one because I saw about somebody chomping on it.
Gross.
Oh, okay.
They do bark.
It's not like Chihuahuas.
No, that's why people think like. So the theory goes that the Swedish Vallhunds bred with Norwegian Lundehunds, and that is what is the modern corgi.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, we're in the library now of the Sons of Norway, and where a lot of the history of Norway can be found in the books. And we're here to talk about the Lundehunds. And the Lundehunds are an ancient breed that were found in the Lofoten Islands of Norway, and it's the only place they've ever been found. They have
because these dogs have not been bred to be the way they are.
Right.
These are actually an ancient breed, and they were never bred for the purposes that they have. They have a number of distinctive characteristics that other dogs do not have. They actually have their front paws can go all the way out.
All their legs can go all the way out.
And they can actually be, so the only dog that we know that can really give you a hug. But they also climb. And I mean, unlike other dogs that can only go like this to get up, they can actually grab onto the shale fjords, climb up to get the prey that they want to eat. What they feed on historically would have been seafood and also puffins.
Hence their name.
Hence their names. Lundehund, puffin dog. So.
So they were only found there, and so they were very low in numbers. So they're considered the oldest and rarest of breeds. Right now, there's archaeological evidence the Vikings took them on their travels. There's so they've been down to less than 10 dogs that we know of throughout history 3 times. First time with distemper, and then again when during the war distemper was brought to the island, and that wiped out all of the dogs, most all of the dogs. Right, and then when the puffins got on the endangered list, unfortunately they did not recognize the dogs were more unique and rare than even the puffins.
Because all puffins around the world are related.
Puffins, so they put a bounty on the dogs' heads. Yeah. So physiologically the dogs are different than other dogs in that they have the extra flexibility. They can put their arms out to the side, that's all 4. So if they slid on the snow and ice, like a reindeer, you'll see pictures of reindeers on the internet where they're sliding on the ice with all 4 legs out. Lundehunds would do that, so they didn't break anything. Their necks are flexible. They can either throw their heads straight back to look behind themselves or to the side to look behind themselves. So like he said, if they couldn't turn around in the cave, they could back themselves out. They can fold their bodies in half, much like a taco. So when they're turning around, they're very tight turn radius.
Very flexible.
They have the 6 toes on every foot. That helps with the traction on the snow and ice, and also with climbing. Some of those toes have the extra joints to give them more grasping ability. They have fewer teeth than other dogs because they would bring the eggs. They would bring the eggs in, so they can cradle the eggs in their mouth without breaking them. Their ears fold like fortune cookies to keep out the dirt and the moisture and the wind.
It's very unusual. They have so many different expressions. And Lundehunds actually run differently. They actually have so many different modes. It's amazing that they can trot. They can actually gallop. that they can actually, they look like they're horses sometimes rather than dogs when they're going. I mean, they love to prance when they have their tails up and they just prance. But when they run, like they're galloping. You know, and these are very, very fast. I mean, you cannot, the birds had no chance if they were close to the ground. The dogs are natural predators for birds, for any avian species actually. And they will go in the water. Their fur actually, in the wintertime, they get double layers on their fur, so they actually can stay drier even though it's snowing out. So they do have double coats for the wintertime, which they do shed. But we have found that a lot of people say that the dogs don't cause them to have allergies that they normally have with regular dogs. Even after they shed their inner coats, that extra fine fur that sometimes people saved to actually make bedding with, nobody had a problem with it. So a puffin dog, Lundehund, was very valuable at the time because they would feed you in the middle of winter. So they could catch up to 15 birds at a time. We were very amazed when we actually pulled the hind legs of our dogs and we figured, this is weird. It turns out that this is historically that the farmers that were breeding the dogs actually would go out and actually go with their puffins going in the fjords. They would go into, the dogs would go in, they'd grab a puffin. Puffin had a unique characteristic where they'd grab another puffin to stop themselves from being pulled. So you could, the farmer, and the one story I heard was that they could pull out up to 15 birds in one pull of the hind legs of a Lundehund, and Lundehund were fine with it. They didn't have a problem with that. But Lundehunds have a unique characteristic that they were in a hole in the fjords, and the fjords with shale actually is very like sand. You could actually, if you're not being right, so these caves, they'd be stuck sometimes in these caves. They would not be scared. They would just flip their necks backwards so that their eyes were facing backwards, so they could actually walk themselves backwards to get out of the fjord, getting out of the caves that they were in with the puffins. Very unusual breed. They are now registered with the AKC, so they are actually competing in the AKC shows now.
So the AKC website has a lot of information. There's also a Lundehund Association.
Is that anybody that's interested in this breed does have to be aware that there are certain health issues because there was such a low number of them, that every one of these dogs are related to every other dog.
You want to do your research and make sure you have the financial wherewithal and to deal with, and the dog just fits in well into your family, because it's a big expense of time and money and your family love and everything to get any dog. You want to do your research.
Hello, PetInfoCafe is back with the Lundehunds. We can't seem to stay away. So let's introduce this baby.
This one's Balder. He'll be 2 in January. He's a Norwegian Lundehund. And he's a sweetie. He's an arm dog.
All right. Well, let's say that I have seen this Lundehund for the first time. What do you want to tell us?
Well, the Lundehunds are considered the oldest and the rarest of breeds. They're different anatomically than other dogs, which is the biggest. They're low in numbers, but anatomically they have 6 toes on every foot. These toes have the extra joints for climbing and traction on the snow and ice. They can put their arms out to the side, so that gave them leverage when they're climbing, and also if they slid on the ice, they didn't break anything, like reindeers. You can see on the internet, there's pictures of that. And then if they were in a cave, they could fold their bodies in half like a taco to turn around in a tight spot. And if they couldn't turn around, they can put their heads either straight back behind themselves or to the side to look behind, so they could back out of the cave. These ears, you can see, they fold like fortune cookies. That would keep out the dirt and moisture and the wind. and they have fewer teeth than other dogs, so they can cradle the eggs. So when they domesticated the dogs, they taught them to bring the bird, the nest, and the eggs. And they got the sweetest little personalities.
So you are a Lundehund owner. Tell us about, and whose dog is Balder?
He's mine.
Oh, well then, tell us all about Balder as your baby and your buddy.
Oh, he's just a love muffin. There's nothing to say. He's my jumper. He's been trying to jump over this gate, but he hasn't succeeded, thankfully.
So I see you have a little puffin toy there. So let's talk about why and what Lundehund means.
So Lundehund is puffin dog, puffin hound or puffin dog. So the dogs were a wild breed climbing the fjords of Norway on the Lofoten Islands, where they would hunt the puffins. So the people realized, the farmers realized, we hunt puffins, they hunt puffins, we'll join forces. So they domesticated the dogs, and the dogs could climb higher and get more birds. So then they'd had more for trade and their own food storage and stuff like that, and bedding. So they taught the dogs to bring them the birds, the nest, and the eggs. So the fewer teeth gives them a spot to cradle the eggs so they didn't break anything.
Well, we had the pleasure of being at a play date, and they seem to be very happy being part of the Norwegian Christmas Festival. So thank you for being there.
Thank you. They're a big hit wherever we go, take them. So they're a special breed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pretty similar.
So after this, there was no genetic pool, so they developed a thing with their intestines, so they can't get too much fat. Over 18% fat, and they'll get this horrible thing.
Disease? Okay, so they have to be really well
So we have to
cared
be
for.
kind of careful with that. But it's not like a big problem. It doesn't impact them.
Right. Just gotta monitor, I guess.
Yeah, so the disability...
Like that.
Whoa.
And now if you're backing up in a cave and you don't want to fall off the cliff, if they can't turn around, they can turn their head 180. That means you would have to turn your head around and look past your back. We can't do that. They can.
That's pretty incredible.
What's fun is we call them radar ears. They can move their ears independently, and they can close them off so that if they fall in the water, they don't get water in their ears.
Oh, wow.
That helps them adapt. And this is the only color left. Okay, he's got your toy. The toy moment. This is the only color that's currently available. There was gray, and there was black, and there was copper. And there might have been kind of a reddish one, but we don't know. Because there's no photographs.
Yeah. So is it just from inbreeding that they...
No, what happened is during World War II, the puffins became endangered.
Yeah.
So the Norwegian government says you cannot hunt puffins. This is their only prey. Second thing that happened is during World War II, veterinary medicine wasn't available.
Yeah.
And the Germans brought distemper.
Yeah.
So they have something called the Lundehund syndrome.
What's that?
Have you heard of celiacs, where people cannot digest gluten?
Yeah.
It's almost identical to that.
That's fascinating.
Arizona State University is studying them
Oh, really?
in a hopes to unlock the mystery of celiacs and other digestive diseases.